by a little ghost child. It turns out, to find out the reason for the frequent strange events in the village, Master Dian deliberately played the role of a blind old man, and then under the lead of Zhao Dian, intentionally approached that stone bridge. Unsurprisingly, they on the way encountered a little child blocking their path. Subsequently, that child then pretended not to find the way home and tricked the grandpa and grandson onto this stone bridge. Little did they know that coming to the stone bridge was exactly what the grandpa and grandson wanted. Just then, Zhao Dian discovered 2 paper boats floating upstream from the river. So he pretended to be shocked and said loudly, "What's floating up the river are 2 people, and looking at their appearances, they are exactly the same as them." As expected, seeing the grandpa and grandson panic, the child who led the way suddenly laughed eerily. This strange laugh almost scared Zhao Dian to pee his pants. And that child was even more outrageous. He just laughed strangely and disappeared into the stone bridge under his feet. This amazing trick made Zhao Dian marvel, then even pretended to be scared and started cursing. However, the old man, looked calm and unhurried. He asked Zhao Dian, "Where have those 2 people on the river drifted to?" Zhao Dian heard this and quickly looked under the bridge, saying they will pass through the bridge arch soon. The old man heard this and immediately knew what to do. He directly threw the bamboo stick and wine gourd on the ground, then suddenly opened his eyes. He shouted loudly, telling Zhao Dian to look carefully again. "What's floating on the river? Is it really exactly the same as them?" This sudden move directly stunned Zhao Dian. What is he doing? Is this performance over? Master Dian ignored him, but instead took out a yellow talisman. He quickly came to where the child had previously seeped into the bridge surface, and then slammed it down hard. In an instant, golden light shone brightly. A golden pillar of light several yards high appeared suddenly, instantly piercing through the bridge surface. Look at this impressive momentum. It's truly exhilarating. Zhao Dian, seeing this, quickly asked the old man if he succeeded. Master Dian nodded, and then led Zhao Dian to the bottom of the stone bridge. At this time, the arch of the bridge was pitch black. Even with a lantern, almost nothing could be seen. But the old man insisted on Zhao Dian holding the lantern high to let him see clearly what's under the bridge slab. This look was extraordinary. As the smoke dissipated, an extremely horrifying monster appeared under the bridge slab. The monster's appearance was extremely ugly, looking like a deformed octopus, intertwined and complicated, making people's spines tingle. No wonder in the past few days, people in the village have been inexplicably sleepy. It turns out it's on this stone bridge. There's a monster that secretly pinches people's soul tips. And the grandpa and grandson, for this matter, really went to a lot of trouble. They first scouted during the day, searching for suspicious things along the river. Unexpectedly, they actually found it on the arch bridge of Heojia village downstream, discovered some strange spores. So they carried lanterns in the middle of the night and put on a good show. The old man used a stratagem. Had Zhao Dian lead him first from that arch bridge where the spores were found to take a walk, and then return to the one in their own village, the stone bridge hiding the monster's main body. And when passing by the arch bridge downstream, the old man specially placed 2 paper boats in the river, and then inserted soul, attracting incense for confusion. This action was just to make the upstream mother entity mistakenly believe that it had already pinched the souls of the grandpa and grandson. Not only that, Master Dian also calculated the distance to deliberately control the upstream speed of the paper boats a bit. Now that the food is late in coming, naturally, it made the monster anxious. Therefore, afterwards, there was the matter of the child blocking the way. If I guessed correctly, that monster transformed into a child blocking the road, should be to confirm the true identities of the two people. Fortunately, this monster doesn't know much and didn't recognize the grandpa and grandson, so it boldly led them to the stone bridge. And although the old man pretended to be blind, but he knew everything clearly in his heart, as soon as he reached the bridgehead, he stopped walking and even went down to pour wine to deliberately delay time, because he knew in the center of the bridge is where the monster's main body is located. Approaching rashly would surely make it aware. Fortunately, at this time, the paper boats finally floated up slowly. However, although in the eyes of the grandpa and grandson, those are just two paper boats with incense sticks, but in the monster's vision, it mistakenly thought those were the soul tips of the two that had been pinched off. Thinking it had succeeded, it must be impatient. Therefore, after a strange laugh, it drilled down from the bridge surface to prepare for a meal. But this is the opportunity the old man was waiting for, because when this monster starts to devour, it will inevitably reveal its vital point, the core of its formation. Therefore, when the old man used his evil-seeing eyes to scan the bridge surface, he instantly discovered that strange light spot. He strode forward and directly slapped a yellow talisman on it, and that golden light, advancing like lightning, is exactly the evil exercising magical skill that the old man is proud of piercing Thunderstrike. It is precisely this move that directly pierced through the monster's main body on the spot. After this explanation, made Zhao Dian, who had been confused all the way, finally understand, and couldn't help but exclaim in praise, "Awesome, my grandpa." But now, the old man looked at the monster under the bridge slab and frowned, because he had already recognized it. The name of this thing should be Yin-Fan. It originally grew in the underworld, is a strange object used to purify evil souls. Now in this form, presumably it is due to food shortages in the human world, leading it to turn its attention to living people. It's just that the old man didn't understand. How exactly did this thing come to this bridge arch? Could it be that something went wrong with the nearby earth veins, causing it to slip through the gap between the yin and yang worlds? Seeing the old man silently lost in thought, Zhao Dian asked quietly, "What should we do next?" The old man heard this, immediately gave Zhao Dian a slightly teasing look, which was to have him use his slingshot wrapped with purple burst pellet, and then directly blast it. Speaking of playing slingshot, I think none of the viewers here are not eager to try. But if this slingshot is hitting something from the underworld, pay attention. This extremely ugly thing in the bridge arch is precisely the Yin-Fan unique to the underworld, and due to its characteristics, it is often used in that realm to purify evil souls. But somehow, it actually crossed the boundary and appeared in the human world, and in a state of indiscriminate hunger, began to attack living beings passing by. So now, after Master Dian used piercing Thunderstrike to cripple it, this Yin-Fan can no longer stand up, but to eliminate future troubles permanently, Zhao Dian needs to deliver the finishing blow. Therefore, Master Dian specifically instructed Zhao Dian to use Purple Burst Pellet to give it a good greeting. Speaking of Purple Burst Pellet, it's actually just a name that Zhao Dian made up himself. Its full name is Chicken Blood Azure Clay Burst Pellet. Just from this name, everyone should be able to analyze what's inside this pellet. What exactly are the ingredients? So next, it's time for our Zhao Dian to perform. You can see that once the Purple Burst Pellet is shot out, it rushes straight forward like a line of blood. At the moment when the two collide, a ball of crimson flames bursts open. This is precisely the ultimate reaction of life and death countering each other. After one strike, the bridge arch is immediately filled with thick mist. And in that mist, there are also dozens of flying cyan light spots. Presumably, these are the soul tips detained by the Yin-Fan. It seems quite a few people have been harmed recently. It seems quite a few people have been harmed recently. Seeing this, the old man immediately shouted, "Listen up, everyone. Yin spirits to the yellow springs and drink Meng Po soup. Yang spirits to the Ling Tai and bless your hosts. Yin to yin, yang to yang. All of you, return to where you belong." As soon as the old man spoke, those soul lights suddenly scattered as if finding their way. Among these dozens of lights, only one drifted in a different direction. It floated westward. That must be Old Man Li, who died a few days ago. Seeing this, Zhao Dian muttered, "I wonder which of these lights, if any, is Zhao Gai's." Unexpectedly, just as he said this, one of the drifting soul lights suddenly stopped. Then, it turned back and bumped his nose. Looks like Zhao Gai really was called back. But Zhao Dian wasn't one to be trifled with. He immediately raised his slingshot, ready to greet his little friend. This action startled the old man. If Zhao Dian actually shot with that slingshot, Zhao Gai would have to follow Old Man Li to the netherworld for reincarnation. Fortunately, it was just a joke from Zhao Dian. After that, the grandpa and grandson quietly watched the soul lights float into the sky, lost in thought. On their way home, Zhao Dian couldn't hold it in any longer. He asked the old man the question weighed on his mind again. It was, "Grandpa, are we really going to be without souls forever?" Hearing this, the old man was taken aback. He sighed. "Haven't I told you before? You have Zhao Guagua as your spirit guardian. It's the same thing. As for the soul you're talking about, you'll get one eventually." After saying this, both of them fell silent. However, though the old man seemed impatient, his heart was heavy, because both the strange events happening in the village these past few days and the soul Zhao Dian just mentioned weighed heavily on the old man, like the endless mountains before them, making it hard to breathe. Let me remind everyone, when joking around in the future, don't say things like seeing your great-grandmother, because something like that actually happened today. As you all know, this boy named Zhao Gai had a piece of his soul pinched by something unclean while riding his bike over the bridge. It wasn't until last night, when Crazy Third Master and Jing Dian, Zhao Dian's real name, eliminated the evil Yin Banner Sunflower, that the pinched soul pieces were able to escape safely. Among them was Zhao Gai's soul light. Although Zhao Dian joked with him then, threatening him with a slingshot, Zhao Gai was actually very grateful. So, early the next morning, he happily dragged his mother along to express his thanks. Then, Zhao Gai recounted the strange thing that happened after returning home last night. As soon as he reached his doorstep, he saw his grandmother, who had passed away years ago. Before he could even greet her, his grandmother kicked him right into the yard. Hearing this strange story, Master Dian burst out laughing. He said the kick from Grandma was a good one. She was settling your spirit for you. Don't you feel much stronger now? Zhao Gai gestured in response, feeling like it was indeed as the old man said. He felt full of energy. He beamed with joy. Zhao Gai's mother, seeing this, quickly offered a basket of local eggs to show her gratitude. Master Dian politely declined, but couldn't refuse their earnestness, so he accepted. However, upon hearing that Zhao Gai had to go home and finish his homework before playing, Zhao Dian couldn't help but sympathize. He said Zhao Gai is really too pitiful. He's clearly not meant for studying, yet he's forced to do homework every day. So pitiful. Unexpectedly, these words reached the old man's ears, and he was outraged. He immediately raised his foot to kick. You didn't even finish 3rd grade and started acting up. How dare you talk about others? Instantly, at the gate of Master Dian's house, The familiar sound of begging for mercy echoed again. Just then, an old woman hurried over. Was a savior about to appear? It turned out to be Zhao Dian's fifth grandma. Though she was used to this sight, she still had to say a few words. But she wasn't just visiting, but because strange things had happened at the nearby school. Hearing that a teacher at the school was possessed, the old man raised an eyebrow. What's so special about this teacher? That they need you to come get me? Not going, not going. Fifth grandma quickly explained, saying that the possessed teacher was a college student from the city teaching here. That should be reason enough, right? That should be reason enough, right? Master Dian heard this and nodded in agreement. Usually, he'd take Zhao Dian along for these matters. But after being scolded just now, and considering it was a school, Zhao Dian stubbornly refused to go, insisting on staying home to guard the house. Helpless, the old man had to go alone. Soon, they arrived at the school. Fifth grandma led the way, taking Master Dian straight to the teacher's dormitory. The possessed teacher, Mr. Zhang, was hiding in his room, huddled under the covers, not wanting to come out. After a brief greeting, Master Dian took a look, but didn't see anything obviously wrong. However, Mr. Zhang insisted he felt dizzy and nauseous. Still feel a little nauseous. Fifth grandma, fearing Master Dian might be perfunctory, gave detailed examples, praising Mr. Zhang to him. Master Dian understood, of course, and started asking about the cause of the teacher's possession. It turned out, it started with a tutoring session the day before. That day, after tutoring fifth grandma's grandson, it was already evening. To get back to the school dormitory quickly, he took a shortcut, and that shortcut was Zhengjia Woods, which locals were terrified to mention. Hearing this detail, the old man became interested. He praised repeatedly, "Young man, you've got guts." Actually, Mr. Zhang, who had never encountered anything supernatural, naturally thought it was all nonsense. So, to save a few minutes, what was a small path, even a ditch, he'd dare to jump across. But strangely, even though it was the height of summer, as soon as he entered Zhengjia Woods, he felt a chill, slightly intrigued. He couldn't help but look around. And just then, he spotted something horrifying. Among the graves everywhere, there was a huge hand-shaped figure. Curious, he approached for a closer look. This look was terrifying. It wasn't a hand at all, but a naked baby with indigo skin. If it were just a baby, that would be one thing. But this baby had arms and legs of equal length, lying upside down in a contorted posture on the grave. And even though its body was upside down, its face, unbelievably, was facing upwards. Today, let's change the pace and tell a story about going bald overnight. Let me warn you, this is a truly spooky story. Speaking of 2 days ago, Teacher Zhang, who was teaching in a small mountain village, was tutoring the sick grandson of fifth grandma in the village. He accidentally missed the time to return to school, so when he left the village, it was already pitch black. To get back to the dormitory as soon as possible, he took a shortcut and passed by the Zhangjilan cemetery, and it was right there that he encountered a great horror he would never forget, because he saw on a grave, actually lying a translucent doll. Not only were its arms strangely long, but its head was also growing upside down. Teacher Zhang had never seen such a scene before. He immediately felt a chill run down his spine. But just at this moment, the strange doll suddenly opened its eyes, and its body quickly solidified. Immediately after, it used its hands as feet, and suddenly stood up. Good heavens! What on earth is this ghostly thing? Teacher Zhang couldn't care about anything else, and immediately took off running. "Don't come over here." So, a person ran in front, and the doll chased behind. This scene, for some reason, made me couldn't help but think of teacher Fei Yuking's famous saying, but it's also funny to say, a young and strong young man actually couldn't outrun a small doll crawling on its hands. Seeing that the doll was about to catch up to him, Teacher Zhang's heart was in his throat. Just at this moment, the strange doll suddenly slapped its hands on the ground, and its whole body shot directly into the air. Teacher Zhang was instantly scared out of his wits. Good heavens! It turned out to be charging up a big move. He, who took a solid slap, immediately fell flat on his face, although his head was a bit dazed. But for him, this was at most just a superficial injury. So, recovering from the shock, Xiao Zhang quickly got up, preparing to defend against the next attack. But what was unexpected was that behind him was empty. Where was the figure of the child anymore? If it weren't for the numb feeling still being extremely clear, he would definitely have regarded what just happened as a hallucination. So at this moment, even if there was nothing in front of him, he didn't dare to stay here any longer. After listening to Teacher Zhang's account, Grandpa Dian and the others unanimously thought of the same thing. Which is Zhuir? In surprise, the old man hurriedly asked him when exactly he started feeling unwell. But what Teacher Zhang said next shocked them. Wow, this young man is really bold. He actually dared to go to that spooky place a second time. Not only that, he even wanted to live stream it. It turned out that, after Teacher Zhang woke up the next day, he found that nothing was wrong with him at all. He immediately thought he had been seeing things last night, or maybe someone had played a prank on him. So that very night, he brought his phone and turned on live streaming the whole time, preparing to expose the prankster. And the result was, of course, he did get slapped. But it wasn't him filming the doll, but rather, he was slapped again by that doll. Okay, this time, he finally became honest. Upon hearing this, the old man and fifth grandma were both so shocked that their mouths widened. Heavens, you were actually slapped a second time? Looking at their nervous expressions, Xiao Zhang was a bit confused. The old man hurriedly explained, saying that Zhuir should not be provoked, because there's a local saying called, one slap brings fortune, a second slap brings disaster, and a third slap even the king of hell can't escape. You kid, how dare you provoke it a second time? Speaking of this, the old man couldn't help but tell some legendary stories. For example, once an old scholar was slapped by Zhuir, and his calf cramped and hurt for a month. An old Kai from the neighboring village was slapped by that thing, and the next day, his serious illness